Yes, it is.
Before we start the video, who had the best judge show? Joe Brown or Just Mac?
Oh,
Just
Joe
between them
Brown.
two,
Yeah,
Joe Brown.
Yeah, Joe Brown.
Yeah, without question, me in my
Joe
eyes.
Mathis tried to get too comical.
Eh, he
it
he
worked.
he, come, he came off too many times over the years, and I used to make jokes about it all the time over the decades. Now it seems like that man been on the show for a long time. But yeah, Mathis, man, he just I don't know. He always had flashbacks to his crack days or something, man. I think the man has always got flashbacks, man, because he can't leave that topic alone, man. When it you,
No,
I
that's
smell a crackhead. I know a
that's
crackhead.
right.
You, yeah, I know. I'm like, I'm like over the years, man. It was just like it almost became like mandatory during the show. Like, hold on, let's wait. He gonna bring it up. He'll bring it up. He'll bring it up. He didn't bring it up this case.
Now,
Next case coming up. There you go. There you go. He done found a way to work it in.
if you want to throw old Judge Judy in there, I say Judge Judy.
Judge Judy,
I was
that's
gonna
my
ask.
judge right there as far as TV judges. That's my judge right there.
Who's
Back in the day,
overall
that was my judge.
best TV judge show overall?
You
Say
said
what?
what?
Out of everybody, out of all the judge shows you see on TV, which one's the best?
Judge
Out of,
Judy.
out of all of them, Judge Judy's gonna be up there. Joe Brown is definitely up there.
About divorce court.
And my third one that's up there is gonna be Mills Lane. Those are well, damn. See, and then I'm about to forget about my boy Judge Alex though. Judge Alex was some shit back in the day.
Yeah, Alex was cool, but now, you talking about People's Court now, so I mean, you got to go on back.
I ain't say nothing about People's Court.
Mills Lane.
I said Judge Mills Lane, the old referee, the boxing referee, when he had his judge show, he was good. I ain't bring up People's Court. People's Court's been blown to me for years, man. Messing around with Million. What's that? What's her name? Million or Judge? I don't. Whatever her name. I ain't even take time to know her name, man. She ruined the show for me.
Judges.
Is that the black lady with her hair?
No, that's divorce court.
Yeah.
Oh, what did he bring up? Maybelline? Divorce Court?
Maybelline.
He brought. What was the first one? What was the first lady's name that did Divorce Court? You remember the dark skinned one?
That's Maybelline.
No, is that Maybelline?
Yeah.
Oh well, hold on. What's the one that took over then?
The short-haired lady.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brown skin. Yeah, I don't remember her name neither. But yeah. But Joe Brown definitely on the top of my list when it comes to them judge shows, man. But just in general, you know what I'm saying? Like seeing him over these last few years, because he's been kind of outspoken on the internet, on the YouTube with that Real Dana show. If anybody's ever checked that out, I know y'all ran across him on there plenty of times, but he's almost like a co-host on there now, pretty much. But he running for mayor down there in Tennessee and everything. So he has a lot to say, but I like the things he got to say about manhood. So, then he has and the law. He puts things in perspective of the law.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And that's what you expect for someone who's spent their whole adult years, messing around with the law.
Everything's the law. The law is it.
Yeah,
So,
he puts a lot of things in
the law.
perspective. You know what I'm saying? Like he's done spoke out on a lot of different topics over the years. Things has done happened over the years that at various times, whatever that I done checked him out talking about, and like he even broke down the George Floyd situation in his opinion and views according to how he interprets the law.
Yep.
And yeah, he interesting man. Eric Dyson, on the other hand, see,
It's Eric Dyson.
I don't know if we even got any Eric Dyson fans on here. See, we need an Eric Dyson fan on here, man.
Eric Dyson.
It's gonna be unfair, man. I mean,
Yeah,
dude, all right, but he just well, I ain't gonna project my on. Look, let's check out some of the debate. and we can go over it from there. You know what I mean?
You know, it's unfortunate. And if you have heard, we've lost one of the Migos characters, Takeoff, due to gun violence. My first question will go with you, Dr. Dyson. What is the biggest issue impacting black males today?
Well, first of all, it's great to be here uh, with Judge Joe Brown, a legendary and iconic figure in our community and indeed in the nation. So it's an honor to have this little tete-a-tete and conversation with such a distinguished figure. Obviously, what's confronting young black men, lack of resources, lack of employment, lack of education, the flooding of our communities and indeed this nation with guns. Back in Judge Joe Brown's day, back in my day, there was a resolution of disagreement with fisticuffs. Sometimes in a dice game, you might get cut. But the rapid proliferation of access to guns has led to a devastating consequence for so many of our communities. So we can talk about the ethical and moral outlook that we should encourage, that most black communities encourage upon our young people to take care of themselves, to get educated, to do as best they can in the culture. We go to church, we go to temple, we go to synagogue, we hear the moral lessons being encouraged upon us. But when I look at the devastating consequences of the hatred of the other, what used to be called black on black crime, people kill where they live. 93% of black people who are murdered by black people. 83% of white people who are murdered by white people. If you want integrated killing, have integrated communities. The truth is that there is lateral violence, and the violence expressed of one black person to another in intimate spaces where people are killing folk that they know or are familiar with. Because if you're at a game, you at least got to be introduced to somebody. And even if he's a victim of either friendly fire or incidental violence, the tragedy is that our communities are gutted because of the devastation of the downward turn in the economy, the lack of access to resources, the failure to understand the necessity of a certain kind of preparation that we take upon ourselves, and as well the ways in which we have been discouraged from believing that our lives are worth something. That doesn't come out of the thin air. That doesn't absolve people of personal responsibility to address the situations in which they could discover themselves, but it's also a collective and institutional enterprise as well.
All right. And you know we gotta pretty much do a lot of stops and all that. Uh what you think, Salamander? He make a pretty good address to the question.
So far from what I heard, yes.
Okay. All right.
And
Especially
especially the part where he said about the gun. It's so much easy to have access to it, so that's what people are gonna resort to in the conflict. As these gun laws are becoming more open, the violence is going up. So I do agree with that.
the gun laws. Okay. What you think so far, pops?
Well, I think it's kind of a sad state. Listening to what Salamander just said, the more access we have, the more violence is going to happen. So that tells me if you give the monkey sticks, they're going to kill each other. You know, just because you have access is no excuse to excel in violence. So that's saying that we can't handle the access, the freedom to bear arms. Because the more of us that has them, the more violence is going to occur.
It sounds like to me you taking on the more of a responsibility type of approach.
Yes, of course.
I think it's more of the younger generation because that's all they're gonna resort to. Your generation, y'all resorted to fisticuffs.
No, we didn't.
I mean, y'all play with the guns too, but it wasn't as much as now.
Shit.
People got yeah. I mean that isn't. I would argue, and I don't have no statistics in front of me or nothing, but I would argue that you know what I'm saying that type of element has been there for a very, very, very long time as far as people resolving their issues with firearms. That ain't nothing new, you know. Now you say that people got more access to them. I mean, ah, maybe, you know, but I, I, I think it's gonna come down to personal responsibility too. But
You
let's
figure the 90s was the heyday of the crack man. Violence was at its height. That's when we had the crime bill came down to slow you niggas down.
mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Same
let's see
thing
what
all over again now.
let's check out and see what the
But
judge got to say.
ain't it like the youth nowadays that's doing most of the killing?
No, it might be the youth that's doing a lot of it, but like I've said in the past conversations, everything has a progression.
But
If the people before it didn't allow it and moved through that door, it wouldn't have opened up on what people are doing now.
was it more gunplay in your youth in the 80s, or was it fists?
Depends on where you were at. You know, you figure,
It was still gunplay, man. When people be talking about that fist stuff, man, they be talking about, man, back in the day, man, we yeah, they talking about back when they was in like elementary, grade school, and junior high. But when you get out there in the streets, yeah, people will blow your head off. I don't
man.
care what era you in, 70s, 80s, 90s. You're not gonna sit here and act like we ain't had a whole bunch of people die from gun violence in the 70s or in the 80s or in the 90s like we do now. I
Well,
mean, there's always been gun violence.
the
People
que-
addressing issues with firearms.
the question you want to ask yourself is this: the game has always been the same. Why is there so many motherfuckers wanting to play it now than it used to be?
Well, I don't know. But like I said, I don't want to keep speculating. Let's get through the second half of this question.
Same question for you, Judge Brown. What's the biggest issue impacting black males today?
All right. Let me start off with a little example to explain it. Anybody in here afraid of me? No, you like me. But I've taken martial arts for 55 kill without a weapon very quickly. But you're not worried about me because I have character. I'm here to protect you, not to hurt you. We're seeing a lack of character in our community and across the United States because we are out of.
And the violence expressed of one black person's of personal responsibility.
All right. Let me start off with a little example to explain it. Anybody in here afraid of me? No, you like me. But I've taken martial arts for 55 years, and there are not many adult humans I can't kill without a weapon very quickly. But you're not worried about me because I have character. I'm here to protect you, not to hurt you. We're seeing a lack of character in our community and across the United States because we are out of balance. We need women and we need men. But we have attempted to emasculate our communities, and we have no fathers in the homes. We have no fathers in the hood. have no culture that is putting fatherhood out there so that the boys understand that they are to grow up and be men, and being a man, your job is to make where you live a better, safer, more secure place filled with economic prosperity, sense of purpose, morality, and ethics. You are men of public peace, dignity, and order who can be brave and courageous when necessary. And if we do not teach these young boys that, they grow up to be monsters because they're out of control. Now, is a pragmatic matter. I got elected to 2 8-year terms as a criminal court judge in Tennessee. And over that time period I was in, the statewide recidivism rate for felons was 80%. In my courtroom, I dropped it down to 18%. Anybody that I put on bond, anybody that I put on probation, you had to deal with Judge Joe's counseling sessions. And I put manhood in their heads so when they looked in the mirror in the morning, they had a guiding factor. So whether it was shame, whether it was guilt, they would look at themselves in the mirror and say, did you do what you were supposed to do as a man yesterday? Are you going to do it today? Or are you going to prepare to do it tomorrow? And they come up to me now, 30 years later, and they say, Judge, you remember me? No, sir. Well, you gave me some time. Did I give you enough? Well, you know, it was that thing about manhood, and now I've got 4 children and 6 grandchildren, and I teach them what you taught me. And I've got 15 young men in the neighborhood that I'm trying to counsel so they become positive factors. So when I do that, I don't think it's all worthless and there's no purpose. There is a reason. And even if I'm not here tomorrow, I did something to help the other people see the daylight at the end of the tunnel, and I become a hero. That is what I'm trying to do. We have to put character back in the hood.
All right, what you thinking? What's going on in your mind, Salamander?
I mean, I agree with both of them so far.
Hmm. You think they you agree with both of them, or you think they're both alluding to the same problem, or are they pointing out different issues?
I mean, I would say so far it's kind of like the same thing, but they saying it different. Jojo Brown saying there's no fatherhood, there's no the man there, and then uh Michael Eric Dyson is saying that it's the youth. I mean, it starts with there, and it's the youth that's missing that father figure.
Why don't you shortly wrap up what you think? What you thinking, pops? What you think about Joe Brown so far as his first answer?
Joe Brown's answer that doesn't cost a fucking damn.
You say what?
Joe Brown's answer doesn't cost a damn dime.
Okay.
That's why his plan will not be allowed. Dyson's plan makes money. His builds victimhood. Judge Brown said, hey, you know what? 99% of what the hell we got a problem fixed starts with ourselves. And he's right. The hood doesn't have any character anymore. Was built structure.
Said
They
it
used to,
can come
they,
down.
they used to be right. There used to be
Sorry, bro.
structure in the game. You know what
Said
I'm
it
saying?
can
No
come
matter
down.
what part you in.
Said it can come down to character.
Yeah, of course. You know, there's even character among gangsters, but they don't have that no more.
So if we were to narrow down Joe Brown's answer, we would say it comes down to he's saying that the major problem is the lack of character, and then what are we saying we're getting a takeaway from Eric Dyson's answer, Salamander?
It starts with the youth.
Pretty much
More
is what.
more stricter gun laws.
So
That's why I got for kids.
so far we got Eric Dyson who says that our major issue is going to be the gun violence and the issues with the youth, and we have Joe Brown who's saying that the issue is character, which I'm not going to say that they're mutually exclusive from each other. I mean, the the character. I mean, we can talk about the youth, but I mean, how we going to talk about the youth and not talk about the parents?
That's
You,
right.
you see
Yeah,
what I'm
I would
saying?
say, I would say,
So that's why I say the Joe Brown's sort of circumference more of the 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 whole issue instead of just trying to focus on one thing and blaming guns and whatnot. I mean, a character, parents, kids, you know, it all starts somewhere. So it sounds like y'all paying attention. It sounds like y'all got some good vibes off of that. Let's see what the next question is.